Let's get the show on the road.
Hello, welcome. It's Tuesday. I hope you're all having a good brother morning. We're joined once again by Joe Dog Hallam. And of course, I'm Rex the Boot Atkins, and I'm here with Easy E, Eric Kearney. Today we got a big guest, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. He'll be joining us momentarily. Joe Dog, anything changed in the last 10 minutes?
I'm going to be, I don't know.
Oh, I should turn the audio up for you guys. I had the
Josh.
You had us muted?
Yeah.
Come on.
Sorry, I'm not professional. Someone else should run the board, okay? Eric, I'm bringing it to your house.
All right, let's go.
No, you're doing great. I'm going to be all with
doing a
Josh.
wonderful job.
What if I mark out while Josh is, I'll be like, hey, do you remember that time I reffed that one match you were in? And that was a really good match. Like, what if I...
You just turn into Chris Farley to bring him up again, where he's just like, hey, do you remember that time when you tagged with Ethan Page in Helt? He's like, yeah. I was like, that was cool.
I'll be like, can you sign this picture? And he'll be like, this is a Zoom call. I'm like, oh, yeah. Wait. I got to mark out. I'm afraid.
Oh, here he is.
So
there
good.
we are.
So
We're
good.
joined by the man himself.
On Jay Chung's feed.
Oh, my name is Jay Chung. Yes. She's beside me on the couch. She didn't want to make an appearance or say hello to you. She doesn't care.
Oh, that's kind of rude.
Well, in that case, let's not plug her podcast.
Let's not plug her podcast.
What's her podcast? I just seen that.
I'm telling you guys why.
She's not appearing because I didn't give her ample time to prepare and put on makeup.
That's fair.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, my girlfriend would be the same way.
Yeah, mine too.
Her podcast is named See You Next Tuesday with Jay Chung.
Hey, I get it. I get
That's
it.
good.
Yeah.
It's one of my best creations.
That was your creation.
She wanted a title for a podcast. She looked at me. She said, what should I name it? I'm like, See You Next Tuesday. And
Just takes the first suggestion.
well, it was the first, but she hates that word. Like she could never watch a British film or anything like that. But yeah, so it's like I don't know. It means something to her.
Okay. It's good.
So needless to say, the word's not brought up much on the podcast.
No.
Does she have guests on it, or is it just her?
Yeah, I was the first guest. She had Alexia. Then she does some on her own, and then some mixed out. She doesn't want to have to depend on booking guests, though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
tough.
we know what that's like, actually.
As you see, Joe Dog Hallam is here. That's the only reason he's here, because we had a cancellation before you.
They settled for me. They settled for me, and now I'm here.
You're not a bad plan B, dude.
Oh my God, that's so nice. Thank you. That's so nice. I'm gonna freak out. Hey, do you have a C word aversion too, Josh Alexander, or like everybody has a word they don't like? Right?
No,
Jade?
I think words are words.
Yeah.
So like they don't. They're sounds that come out of our mouths, right? I don't know.
All right, everybody. Josh is about to say the N-word. Here we go.
No.
I mean, there's words that like you say them and I go, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Like
my wife
nothing,
says. Sometimes my wife says panties just to see me go like, oh God, I don't like.
Oh yeah, like custy or moist.
Custy? I don't. Oh,
Custy.
that's not. Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Custy. Eric, do you have a word you hate? No.
Moist is
Oh.
There's no reason for it.
Just say damp or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has words that they don't like. Like for me, it's usually Eric. That's one word that I hate. Jesse or Bieber, both of those words can fuck off. I hate them both.
You're
I like
so
'em.
mad about this.
Dude, Jesse Bieber hasn't answered my messages in how long, and he's sitting in the other room in your house right now.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Josh, if somebody who you thought you were friends with and you messaged him regularly and for weeks he just didn't answer, you read them but he didn't answer, wouldn't you be like, okay, well, fuck this guy, he's not my friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
See, I'm not wrong, Eric. You are.
I'm waiting for the payoff because this is a great rib because you get angrier and angrier every day.
I love that Rex books like maybe the best wrestler in Canada so that he can say, "Hey, isn't Jesse Bieber a dickhead?"
Oh,
Of
yeah.
all the questions you can ask.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Josh is here, everyone. Should probably ask him something about Impact or some of the things that he's doing as a famous
man.
person.
This is
Let's
much
talk
better.
about Jesse Bieber.
Yeah, I'm very self-centered. I've noticed that a lot, actually. Since I've started doing podcasts, I've noticed I almost always return, like when somebody's talking, I'll start the next sentence with me or I or like something about me. And it's a really bad thing. Like I have to start diving more into what they're saying instead of just thinking about what I'm going to say next. So with that said, Josh, how you doing?
I'm good. I was fine with all of that before Joe interrupted it, by the way.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Joe. Fucking asshole, Joe.
I'm sorry. I just think it's funny. You hate him so much, you bring him up on every episode. It doesn't matter who you're interviewing. It could be like, I don't know.
I
don't
think
know.
he has made his way on here every single podcast.
We almost made it through a full one before Josh was with us without bringing him up, and he brought him up right at the end. And then Eric brought up the fact he's sitting in the other room right now, and I just got fired up about it, and now I can't. Oh, it's driving me
Yeah,
nuts.
it's become just a great rib. I'm very much
You should-
enjoying it.
You should book a cameo with somebody like, I don't even know who, Gangrel or somebody, and have them be like, "Yeah, Jesse Bieber, I don't like him," like just, air your grievances through your cameo or whatever. I was just a random person I picked out, Dave, as Eric calls
Yeah,
him.
I know him as Dave. Yeah. Oh man. So how are things going, Josh? You're doing Impact, but not a whole lot else in the U.S., right? It's
Doing
just
absolutely nothing other than Impact.
yeah.
But it's still more than a lot of people get to do, so I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, that's true. I know. We were talking before about how we just need wrestling to come back, if not just for the road trips with the company. Never mind the wrestling. But I didn't get to catch it. But your match with TJP, how was that? I imagine off the charts.
It
Heard
was
a lot
really,
of good reviews.
It was really good, and it was probably like the most positive reception I've gotten from anything I've ever done, almost from like
At Impact,
fans.
really?
Yeah, which is crazy. Well, as much or whatever as anything I've ever done.
Nice.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before you came on. Was like, what point did you notice that things had changed for you? Because like Eric said for years that you were awesome, but there was a certain point when like you went from Ontario indie wrestler to like all over the States, AAW, all these great places, and you were like top of the card. When was that? Like, what happened where everything switched for you?
I wouldn't say like when I started doing that was when it switched. It was when I came back from my neck injury. I just sitting out for 9 months and watching everything and like really like studying what everyone was doing. And when I was watching these shows that I was at, like A1, I was watching the crowd react to everyone. And instead of like doing that and taking the time to do it when I was wrestling and active, I just never really noticed how other people did that stuff. And then like I just learned a lot and applied it when I came back. And I think that just brought me to a different level.
Wow.
I always forget that you broke your neck. Like that to me is it's just like a part of your history that I've deleted from my brain. And then somebody reminds me, it's like, oh yeah, he was done. And, and like to see where you are now is unreal. Like that doesn't happen.
I like that people forget that it was ever a thing. Because rather than mentioning it every time I step out and be like on commentary, he broke his neck. I don't know about his neck. Every time somebody gives me a neck breaker or some shit.
That's the
I'm like,
storyline, man. Come on.
I'm not made of glass, guys. I'll be fine.
That's I could see how that could be a detrimental thing. Like I think about it all the time when I bring up like how like broken I am on podcasts and stuff. It's like maybe I shouldn't say that so much, because if I ever do get in a position where I'm able to do something, have a job somewhere, they're gonna be like, oh, he's talked about how he's broken for 10 years. He might be a little bit brittle. Like it's not a good idea to put that out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that kind of what happened to Nigel McGuinness? Like, didn't he was honest in a lot of like, they were like, hey, have you ever had this? And he's like, yeah. And then they're like, well, then you can't wrestle here then because you're too injured. Whereas if he had lied and said, No, I feel great. I can always feel my fingertips. Then he would have been on TV.
They would have
So-
found out eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
But-
some friends that, skated by like that, and then they found it eventually 2 years later, and they just got neck surgery or got shoulder surgery and then came back. It's
Yeah.
not like you get fired. You got to skate through that like entry physical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Yeah, I think about that
Yeah.
a lot. Like I remember Brody used to bring it up. He didn't think he was going to pass all like the physicals
Yeah.
and stuff getting signed. He's like, yeah, my knees, my joints are all loose. He's like, I'm never going to get this. And sure enough, he somehow weaseled his way through, and they never figured it out. But
Yeah,
Well,
I remember
yeah,
him
you-
mentioning that now that you say it, which was crazy. Like I have memories that pop into my head of him now, and like it was weird because like I didn't talk to Brody for 6 years almost. Like he voxed me for like the first 2 years he was signed and on the road all the time. But like Vox, I think I deleted that. Like I got a new phone and just never downloaded it again. So like
Forgot
we
that app
just,
existed.
we just never like interacted again. I was like, I'll see him down the road, you know what I mean? And then like all this stuff happens. So like now when you bring up that story, like I remember him saying that stuff to me at A1 when he told me he got signed. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I think
that whole
think
thing was
a-
nuts. With
I think a
Brody.
lot of you wrestlers, like you guys kind of have your own ways of getting by just even show to show, like taping yourself up or whatever, right? So it's like, I guess if all you got to do is get past this checkpoint to get signed or whatever, then I guess, yeah, you can figure out a way to super glue yourself together to get past the entry point, right? But
well, I mean, there's also some of us who just also need the talent first.
but then at least you could blame it on, well, hey, it's because I'm injured or whatever. That's you can. At
No,
least, you
I
know.
just tell everybody I suck. I'm like, nah, I
Okay,
don't get it.
he removes himself from the roster chat groups.
If you set the bar really low out the gate, they might be impressed with something very easily.
That's right. Under promise, over deliver. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Brown was still very impressed with that 5-minute match we did.
Oh my God. Dude, Josh, we had this match. I hadn't wrestled since like February or something. And Steve books me on a show in August. And I haven't been doing anything. I've just been working, doing whatever. And he books me in a match with Eric for like 6 minutes or something. And I already kind of knew, like, I was kind of like, it's probably not good that I'm just getting in the ring and having a match without going to training. There's no training schools open. So I had no ring to get into. And we get out there and like 4 minutes in, I just couldn't feel my legs anymore.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
I
awful.
experienced that exact same thing. Well, I didn't. I saw Eric experience that exact same thing when he wrestled me in Alpha One. So
yeah, that was also coming back a little too soon. That was right after my neck injury, and I had just been cleared. No, I had just been cleared to go back. So I haven't gone to a gym, haven't done anything, and Paige messages me, "Hey man, you want to work Josh?" Well, I wasn't going to turn it down. So yeah, I do want to work Josh. It's a terrible idea. 3 minutes in, I couldn't breathe, and he still wanted to do the full 12-minute match.
Yeah,
He
I feel
comes
like
to
you
the-
wouldn't be as forgiving as you were with me, where you were like, "Are you sure? Okay, here we go."
He came. First of all, I went to a rest hold as a heel, which was just terrible to begin with. But then after the match, I'm in the locker room struggling to breathe. He comes down laughing, going, "Can you even breathe right now?"
he
No,
was
I
blue.
couldn't.
He was blue. I'm not kidding.
It was,
Yeah,
I came back a little too soon.
that
Yeah, I
drop
had
kick was
people-
really impressive.
Yeah. Lowest drop kick I've ever done.
Mine looked like it was almost like the finish to Austin Owen Hart after he got dropped on his head. I
Falling
remember being in the
around.
back, lying on the ground on a towel, and just people coming out to me and like, "Are you okay, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be okay. Don't worry about it."
Go around me.
He went for a spot and pulled me in. He goes, "Take it home," and I went, "Really?" He goes,
And then
"Yeah."
all I did for the finish, for the comeback, I just called the exact shine we did at the beginning. The most embarrassing match I think I've ever had. And then the funny thing about that is Steve comes up to me after, he's like, "Rex is booked on every show. Awesome." And I'm like, what the fuck did he see?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Steve's been blind for 20 years. So he's also never told anybody they've had a bad match.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Steve's the
God damn
sweetheart.
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the nicest person.
Too nice.
Yeah.
Never
Oh,
mind. I'm not
man.
gonna make jokes.
So Rex's trainer, he doesn't like to admit it, was Blackjack Phoenix.
Yes.
When you changed your name from Jay Phoenix, the story I heard, I don't know if it's true, but when you changed from Jay Phoenix to Josh Alexander, was it because of Blackjack Phoenix getting pissed off?
No.
Okay.
Kind of. You're kind of close. I was Jay Phoenix with a PH. And I got a MySpace message from, at that time, Blackjack Phoenix's wife or girlfriend.
Yeah,
I
Rhea.
can't remember. Yeah, something. And it was like, I was like, hot shit, 6 months into training and already wrestling, yada, yada. And she MySpace messages me, and I'm like 19 years old, 18 years old. She's like, you have to change your name. My husband has that name, and he is the only Phoenix in this territory, and yada, yada. And I'm like, I can't remember what I said, but I just remember typing "fuck off" and like, because I'm like, who's this random person on MySpace? Like, there's no consequence for this. I was 19. It was so dumb, but like, I sent it, and then all I kept hearing from like one of the Olsen twins would like trickle over into a show, or I'd do like a Chuck Sims show and see Brody, and they'd be like, "Phoenix, eh? Oh, I hear the Blackjack's coming for you," or some like, dude, that's some like random thing like. Or like Quan Chang like comes up to me, he's just like, "Hey, my friend called me last night. He's real pissed about this name thing." I'm like, I'm like, "Oh, Quan Chang, what's going on?" So I changed my name from PH to FENIX for the Phoenix part because of that. Because I was just like, "Oh, if this makes him happy, I don't care." And then he was very happy with that solution. And yeah, I changed my name from the Phoenix just because there's a guy named Jay Phoenix in Scotland that talks shit about Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe like.
So you're getting inadvertent heat from
Yes.
some guy.
Okay.
He like stole people's wallets in the locker room and stuff. And like the second Chris Hero met me, he was like, "Dude, you got to change your name." I was like, "Oh no, what? Okay." You know what I mean? Chris Hero just said I have to change my name.
Oh man,
I have a similar story. I used to go by James Ellsworth, and
And you didn't want to be a red dot on a map.
The funny thing about Phoenix being upset about that is you started around the same time as me, probably like 2005-ish.
Yes.
Okay, so at that time, he wasn't even in the wrestling business. He was like retired and like not going to wrestle again because he was fat and his knees were hurt. And he just, same situation I'm in now.
He was grizzled at 36 years old, right?
I beat him. I'm 32 and I'm already there. So but yeah, so I don't know why. It's so funny that they're upset about that. But I always thought that the story Eric had was the same thing. Like that's why you changed it from Phoenix to Alexander.
That's why I thought he changed my last name, because when it was like a week after you changed to Josh Alexander, I wrestled for him in Crystal Beach, and when I showed up, I actually wasn't even booked. I went up with Rip, and he put me on. And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to team you with." I think his name is Cletus.
Can I stop you really quick?
Yeah,
You drove Rip.
I drove Rip. Yes. I drove Rip to the show.
And you got booked in lieu of him giving you gas money.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Makes sense. So he put me with, I think his name was Cletus, to wrestle Rex and Troy Buchanan. And he's like, "But you got to change your name. It's got to be Eric Alexander." And so I wrestled as Eric Alexander, and it was back when Mello had his sight on. So my next show, which was at Unit 13, the first thing you said to me was, "Really, Eric Alexander?" I didn't have a choice, man. The promoter made me, and it was Blackjack that made me change my name. So I just thought he had it out for you.
Man, message board heat was so much fun back in the day. I used to just read that thing for hours.
Yeah, me too.
I used to only scan it to like hope and pray my name wasn't anywhere on it. I was like, didn't even want to be in results because I was so ashamed of like where I came from and like all my, I was just like, I never want to cross the border. I'm going to stay in Buffalo forever. Fuck it. I'll never, because I was so scared of like Ontario indie board heat.
Yeah. Big Daddy Donnie's coming to get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember one time I got a shit ton of heat from Derek Wild. I was booked on a revival show of FSPW. Gary Gambino was running it. And he had Derek Wild as like an agent backstage. And I was supposed to wrestle Chris Chambers in like just a quick squash. Like he was going to give me the super kick, 1, 2, 3, it's over. I'd been in the business like a year. No reason I can't do that. Wild asked me, are you okay with that? I said, yep, no problem. Then at the time, which is funny now because I'm friends with Screech, but back then he was talking shit about me. He was like, oh yeah, fuck this Rex guy, he sucks, which I did. And he's like, he's fucking, this is it, the last show. The ring rats, the ring crew guys come up to me and they're like, oh, Screech is talking shit about you. He said this and that. Me being a stupid like 18-year-old kid, I'm just like, fuck this, and I pack my shit and I leave. Wild thinks I left because I didn't want a job to Chambers.
Oh dear.
If he knew anything at that point, I was the biggest Neo mark in the world. I would love to wrestle Chambers. So after that, it was like I had this huge scathing message from Wild saying like, I'm blackballed from Ontario, I'll never work in this territory again, blah, like all this fucking shit, right? And then from that point, I didn't work in Ontario for like a long time because of it.
I mean, I believe it. Like this wrestling heat is like hilarious to me because like blackballing somebody, like I don't think that would ever happen at this day and age, but like back then it was a real thing. Like
I think Derek Wild is somewhat blackballed currently, is he not? Doesn't everybody kind of hate? Don't they have like a little list of like, we hate these guys? Not really.
I don't speak on any of that.
Who's on your list, Joe? You go first.
Me, I don't think I have any heat. That's why nobody knows who I am. I just stay back. I don't think I have any heat with anybody, but
you hate the Inuits. We found that out last episode.
I did not hate the Inuits. I did not hate the Inuits. I just say that sometimes they have supply and demand issues.
He claims all Inuits huff up there.
That's not what I said. I said they don't have access to, like, sometimes they don't have access to certain supplies.
And Josh signed out.
I'm going to get in a lot of trouble just appearing on this, I think.
No.
You see what you've done, Joe?
It's not what it... Please don't cancel me. It's so hard. So hard to do stand-up in these day and age. It's hard to decide what to joke about, You can get... I'm surprised Big Boss Man hasn't been pulled off of the WWE Network. They canceled Cops. They're clearly gonna pull Big Boss Man off of. He has the thing on his sleeve, this flag, the
Confederate.
What's it called?
Yeah,
I
recently found a couple patches that I had in my trunk of my car from when Jeff and I were going to tag, and we were going to do the Southern gimmick, and we're Canadian, we don't know anything about Southern history, and we had these Confederate flag patches we were going to like sew onto our stuff, and I just found it years later in my trunk underneath like the cover, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta get rid of this. Everybody sees this.
I'm a big car guy, as everybody knows, right? So it's like, not everybody, you guys. Anyway, and the General Lee is like, it's a Dodge Charger. It's a super cool car. It's jumping over rivers and shit. So I have a T-shirt with the General Lee on it with the big Confederate flag. I can't wear that anywhere. That's super offensive. Super offensive. I gotta throw that shit out. Not once you learn what it's about, you're like, oh, son of a bitch. Anyway. Yeah. Into the paper shredder it goes.
All right. Well, let's change the topic so Josh doesn't get canceled. Speaking of getting canceled, not getting canceled, you're on Impact. What's the schedule like for that? Like, how often are you doing tapings?
It's every like 4 to 6 weeks. We do a block of tapings.
Like all at once? You do 4 to 6 weeks of tapings?
Yeah. So we'll do like at least 4 or 6 episodes every block, and then sometimes, like usually when we do the 4 weeks of TV, we'll have a pay-per-view as well. So it's like usually 3 days of taping or 4 days of taping.
It's
down in Nashville. Yeah.
The pandemic, like it's crazy because like anybody who's just Joe Blow indie wrestler isn't working, but all the guys who had like legitimate jobs are all still thriving all the product looks great. Like I finally got cable for the first time in a decade, so I've been watching like Impact and Raw and all these things, and the shows look great. Like nothing, even though without a crowd, it still looks awesome. It sounds somewhat normal. Obviously the crowd is a little different, but have you noticed, like, is it weird working in an empty facility?
I didn't find it super weird, but like a lot of people do. To me, like one of the things is like I know all the boys are watching on the monitor, just waiting for me to fuck something up or like shit the bed. So like I'm gonna compete with myself to just be like fuck you. I'm gonna have a really good match even though there is no crowd. But like I had a training school before this all happened, so I was doing training matches with all my students and stuff, and there's no crowd for any of those. You kind of like have to walk through the paces and get the timing down, even though you're not like riding the wave of a crowd. So like for me, the adjustment wasn't bad. I kind of like it because there's even more focus on the in-ring product now. So like if you have like good punches and like euros and strikes and everything, like all your stuff's very crisp and like tight, it's going to be highlighted just being there because they're not distracting anything with the crowd and everything.
Do you find that your wind was a lot more important now that you don't have those moments to let the crowd kind of bask in what's happening? You're kind of just, do you feel like you're obligated to kind of just keep going rather than, because like in a normal match, right, you'll do some stuff, sometimes something happens where you kind of have to let the room breathe a little bit, and now there's not those little moments anymore, it's just silence. So do you find yourself kind of working a little harder, going a little faster, or like just speeding things up?
No, not speeding things up, but like in the in-between moments where you just lay there and breathe, you have to sell. You have to be verbal. You have to like make noise because otherwise it's just gonna be like dead air, right? So like every moment you're selling, it just blows you up a little bit more. Like since I've turned babyface and done singles matches, like I've noticed that just taking heat is the worst part because I can't stop like being vocal.
Yeah.
And you're not running the wrestling school anymore?
No, I got real lucky. Like there's a horseshoe firmly planted up my ass because I went to close it in March anyway because I was traveling so much. I didn't have any time to stay at home with my kids when I was home during the week because I'd be running the school. So after a year, I decided to shut it down, and it was literally a week before our first lockdown.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
perfect
Yeah,
timing.
good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, like if you were running a wrestling school, because I don't know how many other people that are like in Impact or well, I mean WWE's got like that weird Thunderdome thing, so it's different. But anyone running a wrestling school who could actually teach pandemic TV wrestling, because it's obviously a little bit different, right? Like that's something that any young wrestlers listening to this should definitely listen to that if they're trying out or trying to get a spot on any kind of television product.
Well, I think Ontario Indie kind of helps to prep you for that because I've seen Josh have like a 5-star match, like in the Beehive room in Cambridge there was 6 people there or whatever, and I'm like, God, it's such a waste because it was I think I might have even repped it, and it was like such a killer match, and I'm like, 9 people.
Me and Kobe Durst killing each other for 35 minutes, and
That's what it was. Yeah,
just for like only stupidity or pride, whatever, if it's even different.
Well, that goes all the way back to when you were Jay Phoenix teaming with the Prodigy, because you guys wrestled me and Buck Gunderson, I think it was, at Jay's place. And I'm pretty sure there was only like 10 people.
I've never wrestled in Jay's place with more than like 12 people.
Yeah. So if that doesn't prep you for empty arena matches, then it's like, then nothing will. Because
it's either Jay's or whatever that Cambridge venue was on Thursday nights.
The Polish Hall or whatever, wasn't it?
Or was that the French Club?
Oh, maybe.
I wouldn't know. I'm not booked on PWA. So,
hey, there's already one big guy with a beard, okay?
Yeah, fuck it. And with that, that's Tuesday morning. Josh, thanks for joining us. Where can everybody find you?
At walking_open on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, there you have it, Joe.
You're so awesome, Josh. You're so awesome. You're the man, buddy. I miss you so much. You're so good.
That's fine instead of plugs. That's fine. Okay, everybody have yourselves a good brother morning.
Thanks for coming on, Josh.
All right,
Show on the road.
Fuck, he wasted no time getting out of here.
Here you go.